Good morning and welcome to Teach Me Bees. I'm your host, Dave Wescott, and I've got with me today Scott the beekeeper.
Hey,
good morning, Scott.
Hey, it's good to be here. How you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. I understand we're talking about one of your favorite topics, reproduction.
That's right. You know, like every guy, your mind goes there sometimes, right? So,
Reproduction.
but we're going to keep it as clean as possible here. This is a G to PG show. And so we are going to talk about bee reproduction, just to be clear.
Being reproductive is really important.
Right. It is. I mean, it's a vital thing for all creatures, species in the world to reproduce. And I believe statistically, and I could be wrong, someone should fact check me on this, but I believe September has the most births for people, which means this window of time is prime reproduction time, if you know what I'm talking about.
Prime reproduction time. So,
But not for bees.
is that from personal experience or is that
Nope.
just, no, that's
Nope.
from the internet.
Nope.
Okay, you're celibate.
No.
All right.
No.
Scott the beekeeper is celibate. We're going to keep that in mind. In case,
I don't know about that, but
I don't know about that. So he's doing a little practice.
I'm a married man. I'll just leave it at that.
He's a married man, so basically he's celibate. All right, teach me bees. This is really important because we got understanding the honeybee from egg to adult.
That's right. There is, we've talked about here on the show that the average honeybee lifespan is about 45 days.
I would hate to be born in an egg.
Yeah, I thank God that doesn't happen to us. Seems kind of depressing. But for a bee, you start from an egg in the comb, you become a larvae, and then a pupa.
Pupa or pupa?
I think it's pupa, but
Ralph, can we get a ruling on this?
I'm going to go with pupa.
pupa.
That's exactly what I said.
It's got
Good.
a U.
I'm glad we got that moving in the right direction. All right, now we need to start with the queen, obviously.
Yeah, the queen's pretty
Is that
important.
how you do it? You start with the queen?
Yeah, the queen is everything when it comes to reproduction. She is the one who gives birth. She is the one who... The queen, when she's a virgin queen, so if she emerges for the first time, something happened to the old queen, they died, disappeared, whatever happens. A queen is birthed, they're born. They emerge from their queen cell, and they have to go take their virgin flight. And so they will fly out of their hive and mate with 1 to probably a dozen drones, probably more than a dozen drones. Hopefully not from her hive, because it messes with the DNA of that hive, and you want other DNA to come into the hive. And so
That's interesting. So the queen is kind of out there on the street.
She's on the street for a few days. Like, she's out there.
She's out there. She's getting impregnated.
She is. The crazy thing is, at least what I think one of the crazy things is, the queen then stores up all of the sperm from her mating exercise, and then that's what she uses to fertilize eggs for the rest of her life. She will not go mate again. It's a one-time 3-day weekend, where
So it's like
she gets
going to Vegas.
fertilized. She goes on her Vegas trip 3 to 4 days.
So what you're saying is, don't let your lady go to Vegas alone.
Well, no, that's not.
What happens?
No,
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
that's not good. So the queen, she'll come back, and then after a few days, she will begin laying eggs in the comb of the hive.
So where does she meet this male? What kind of a male is she looking for?
Well, she is looking for the drones, which we have talked about
Is she
several
looking for
times.
somebody like The Rock?
Probably.
Strong, dark, and handsome?
Strong, dark, handsome, movie star, makes average to below or above average movies. I like The Rock, but
So
some
you're
of his
not
movies
a
just
fan
aren't
of
very
The
good.
Rock's movies?
I am mostly, but some of them are just not that great. Like, if we're being honest,
Which ones don't you like?
all of his Fast and Furious movies, he becomes like a superhero within the movies. He can like lift 6 cars at a time. And it's like, okay, I know he's strong, but it's not that strong.
I've never seen the Fast and Furious movies.
They're kind of worth your time. Kind of. They're entertaining.
I've never liked Vin Diesel.
Okay, then you probably wouldn't like the Fast and Furious movies.
I think Vin Diesel's kind of a punk.
Although Paul Walker, the first was 5, 6. He's really good.
That's the guy who died?
Yeah.
Are they good just because he died, or is he actually a
No,
good
he's
actor?
actually, I think he's actually a good actor. Yeah. He makes, like the 3rd and 4th one are pretty good. I like them a lot. But we digress.
Because we're talking about tall, dark, and handsome. We automatically got talking about The Rock, and we're
Yep.
just talking about this queen who flew out.
She's
to
flying
get
out.
mated upon.
Yep.
for
so
3 or 4
the
days.
drones from their hives, whether they're
So these are just random hives. They're going to go mate with this queen.
yeah, these
Random drones.
Yep.
Just
So
a lucky drone cruising around.
Yeah, that's what the drones go out for this purpose. Like the whole purpose of a drone, I hate to break it to you guys, but the whole purpose of a drone, or potentially men in the world, is for mating. They
The
go
life
out
of
to
a bee.
mate.
What can I say? I'm jealous.
I saw some statistic that
It's all about the size of the stinger.
but less than 1% of drones actually get to fulfill their purpose.
Less than 1% of drones.
Yes. So most drones actually go unfulfilled in life, and they just eat and die. It's kind of a depressing life if you think about it. But if you are the lucky drone who goes out and flies,
I don't even know if I can continue this episode.
This got really depressing really fast, Scott.
I'm sorry. I hate to
I mean,
bring the
I
truth
just
right
I feel like I need a Coke or something.
afterwards.
I mean, like now. I feel like I'm gonna fall out. Only 1% of all males ever get to mate with their queen.
Yeah, at least bees.
God, at least the queen isn't eating their head off like a praying mantis.
No, that would be the worst.
Have you
possible.
ever watched the praying mantis female eat the head of the male?
No.
Well, it kind of gets him sideways and gets him in these crazy grappling hook arms, and the male is just squirming. He just wants free. He's like, baby, I just made love to you. We're going to have some beautiful babies. What is going on here? Why do you have me in the power grip? And then she takes a little bite. It's just a little bite
Well, it kills
out
them.
of his head.
So
No, it doesn't kill him right there, because I watched him struggle. I watched her eat like a little, half moon sized shape out of his head for like 250 bites. He's still screaming. She eats him for like 2 hours.
good Lord.
She doesn't have a big mouth where she's just like, here's the whole head. It's like little
Nibble by nibble?
little nibble at a time, and you can see his green flesh just tearing apart, and he's screaming agony, and she's holding him with her monster arms. I mean, it's like one of the most agonizing deaths of all
Mother
time.
Nature coming at you real quick.
So I guess I would be
Drones have it a little better than that.
I guess I would rather be. I'd rather be a drone than a praying mantis
Absolutely.
who gets my head eaten.
That's right. Get kicked out of the hive and die in the winter than being eaten alive.
This is very interesting.
So the queen, she comes back. She begins to lay her eggs. In spring to summer, through summer, she can lay 1,500 eggs, 2,000 eggs a day. So these are hopefully going to be bees that are reproducing within the hive and strengthening the hive, which is why
that's how we split
population
our hive.
explodes in the spring to summer.
That's right. That's how we're able to split our hives.
Yep, and that's when the splitting, the swarming happens. Go back and listen to a previous episode on swarming.
That was an awesome episode.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I want to be swarmed. Are we just at a loss for what to do
I don't
now?
know where to go with that. So,
I'm
This
just
is slowly
saying.
becoming my favorite episode.
Swarming sounded like a good time to me. We're talking about hive reproduction here, people.
we are. This is important stuff, So the egg is
Yeah.
in the comb,
Yes.
and the egg is in the comb for 3 to 4 days, and then it will emerge within the comb. And then that's when it begins to get fed by worker bees, or in this case, nurse bees, because they're specifically dedicated to feeding the baby bees, the larvae at this point.
Yeah.
Emerge from egg to larvae. And so they get fed for 5, maybe 6 days. If they're a drone, they'll get fed probably for 6. If they're just a worker bee, probably for 5. And then the nurse bees begin to cap over the larvae. So the capping process takes like a full day, I believe. And that's when you pull out a frame, you'll see honey and capped brood most of the time. Because in that capped brood, the larvae becomes a pupae for the remaining period of time. So
Pupae, folks. Remember that. Pupae.
for a worker, that's going to be until day 21. From egg to emerging as a worker bee in the hive is 21 days. And so for the last 10 or 11, they'll be capped in their comb. And for a drone, it's 24 days. So they're going to spend about 14 days, probably 12 to 14 days in their comb waiting to emerge. So,
And then the life of a bee is only, what, 45 to 60 days?
yeah, in there. So
So
they're
the
going to,
life is very short.
yep. So, but that's not counting them in the comb. Like they don't spend half their life in the comb. They spend
Yeah.
time
yeah,
in the hive, and
They've
then
got the
and then
comb time,
Yeah.
which is like peaceful. They're dreaming about stinging other bees.
Yeah.
Maybe drinking some nectar.
Yep.
Maybe getting lucky and hitting the bonus with the queen out in
yeah,
the field.
the drone's probably
on a
hoping for that.
flower.
Yep.
They're really glowing for that idea in their head. Then they pop up their little bee head
They
And they're just
emerge
looking
out of the
around.
comb.
and they're just like, oh, it's so warm in here. And then some nasty queen is like, go out there and get me some honey, boy. And so he's like, okay, well, I don't really go out there and get honey. I got to make honey, which means I got to go pollinate 50 freaking flowers a day or 50 flowers an hour. How many is it? 50 flowers an hour?
Per hour, I'm not sure per hour.
50 flowers an hour. That just sounds good to me.
It's probably
Sounds
not.
like
Probably
something
not
Nicolas
that.
Cage would be doing. If Nicolas Cage was in this movie,
If Nick Cage was a bee, he would be.
yeah, if Nicolas Cage was a bee, he would be cruising around and he would be hitting 50 flowers in a day.
Oh, Nick Cage, what a guy!
Because he'd be cruising around in Eleanor.
You know what?
Gone in 60 Seconds reference.
You know what I started doing this last year?
Watching all the Nicolas Cage movies over and over.
No,
again.
no. But on the 4th of July,
Wearing your Nicolas Cage mask.
I thought about
during
what is the
mating
best
season.
way to celebrate America? Watching its Declaration of Independence be stolen by Nicolas Cage. So it's now a 4th of July tradition to watch
National
National
Treasure?
Treasure, which is probably Nick Cage's best movie. Probably.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, Ralph, you're the movie buff here. What is going on? I feel like I'm going to pass out. Now, not only do I need a Coke, I need a Sprite and a McDonald's sandwich.
So I'm going to say probably National Treasure for me is top 5
Of Nick Cage movies?
of Nick Cage movies.
Okay.
But you've forgotten about Con Air.
Love Con Air.
Isn't it great? And
I'd take pleasure in gutting you, boy. No,
yeah,
that's The
and then-
Rock.
yeah. And then Face Off. The one with John
Face Off
Travolta.
is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Face
I don't
Off?
think I've seen it.
Oh my gosh.
It's just absurdly fun.
Okay. And I got a new movie to watch.
Face off. I'm going to take his face off.
Nick Cage, everybody.
Dude, that movie.
Legendary actor.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. What else?
Jeez. Raising Arizona is one of my favorites.
Raising Arizona. And what about the one where he's in the ambulance and he's driving around all night, the Martin Scorsese film?
Oh,
Where he's a young man. It's like so critically acclaimed.
Yes.
And it's like
remember.
Raising the Dead, or I don't know, something like that. He's
Yeah.
driving around as a ambulance driver.
Is it Left Behind?
No.
No, but it would suck to get left behind. Like this guy is just off the charts, man. He's got so many amazing movies. What about the movie where he plays a twin of himself?
Oh, yeah. Which one was that one?
You know, where they're like fighting out in the swamp and everything. Like this is another amazing Matchstick Men.
Oh, yes.
You know,
I'm at a loss here on some of these older Nick Cage movies, but
I'm surprised you just don't know the ones where he's a cartoon character.
I don't just watch cartoons. I think you have that incorrectly established.
Really?
I think
They're great.
The Rock, Dave. The Rock.
Yes, I said The
With
Rock.
Sean
I
Connery.
love
Yeah,
The Rock.
yeah.
That's where he says, "I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy."
Yep.
I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy. That's where his name is Dr. Stanley Goodspeed.
That's right.
That's actually the name of my bee character is Dr. Stanley Goodspeed. I am here to impregnate the queen. Where is she? Dun dun.
You're hoping she's on that flight. You got a 3-day window.
She's out.
Find her.
Chase her down.
Find her. So,
And just for you, Scott,
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage was in The Croods.
okay.
That animated movie with the cavemen.
I know what it is.
He played the patriarch.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, just for your cartoon loving right there.
Great.
He was in The
I'll have to
Croods.
check it out.
So we've got Scott the Beekeeper, a.k.a. the Cartoon King,
I don't know how I got this title. I'm just-
a.k.a. the Cartoon. I got to write that down on my notes so I don't forget it. A.k.a. the Cartoon King, Scott the Beekeeper. It is now stamped.
stamped in Teach Me Bees legacy here. So
You're going right back to the brood, aren't you? I knew it. I mean, we got to go right back into brood, baby bees. They start from an egg. What happens is the queen lays a comb.
I don't know what
The
you just
queen
said.
lays
but
an egg in the comb section. 'Cause
There you go. You go.
We've got our special sections where we fly in the hive.
That's
After
right.
3 or
You
4
get laid
days,
in.
the egg hatches, and the worker attendant bees nurse bees begin feeding the egg.
How many times do you think the bee is fed over the 5-day period?
140 small meals.
Correct.
See, you might think that I just tell jokes on the show and I don't really know anything about bees. But the fact of the matter is that I'm really freaking good at reading my notes.
There you go.
So if
There
you
you go.
want to know what's going on, I really prepare for the show. Because guess what? I got a whole page of notes that are going to tell me everything I need to know about bees for the show. I am ready to go with bees on the show. This is called preparation. And it wouldn't happen. Well, it really wouldn't happen without Scott the Beekeeper.
That's probably right. Yeah. So yeah, bees, they get fed when they emerge from the egg and before they get capped as a larvae, around 140 times in that 5-day period. I actually saw.
I want to be
a
nursed
stat
140 times over 4 days.
They are fed every 15 minutes,
Beautiful.
or at least checked on every 15 minutes to see if they need food, which is kind of wild to think about. Like, it's a lot, I guess.
That's very cool.
But they want strong hives, strong bees make a strong hive. So they get capped, and then they emerge. Do you know how a male, so a drone, is decided, or a worker bee is decided by the queen?
This is a really good question. I'm gonna let you. I'm not gonna open your presents for you.
Okay.
And spoil this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you break this news to the audience.
Okay. So it all comes down to fertilization. So as I mentioned earlier,
It's
as the
exactly
queen
what I
bee
was gonna say.
goes out, she mates, she comes
Yep.
back. Those eggs are fertilized within
Tall, dark,
her.
and handsome.
So she lays the egg and she determines, should I fertilize this egg or not fertilize this egg? So a fertilized egg will be a worker or a potential queen. In an emergency case, an egg in its first 3 days could be made a queen if something happened to that queen in the 3-day window. Right? That could happen. But most likely it's going to be a worker bee. It's called a diploid egg, which means that just comes down to the sets of chromosomes. It's got 2 sets of chromosomes from its queen and its drone father. The unfertilized egg, so the queen lays the egg and she does not fertilize them in the hive, that becomes a drone, so a male, and they only have one set of chromosomes. So
I got
that's
a question for you.
Haploid egg.
And it's a totally serious question.
I'll seriously
So
answer
what
it.
we've talked about in the past is that the drones kind of get shed from the hive.
Yeah, they
As
get
the
kicked
hives
out.
going into wintertime, the males are discarded because they need to make room. Now, the drone is removed from the hive, and you'll actually see the bees carrying out the drones. Like they literally
They get escorted out.
Yeah, they get escorted out right out of the hive. I mean, it's horrible. And now the worker bee who has been fertilized, does he stay in the hive?
Well, all worker bees are females.
All worker bees are females. Sorry. She.
Yeah.
Does she, her, whatever, does she get kicked out of the hive?
The worker bees?
Yes.
The worker bees won't be kicked out of the hive if the worker bees determine that there's no longer enough room in the hive. There's too many bees and too small of an area. That's when they will make a queen cell. So as I said earlier,
That's right.
a fertilized egg could become a queen. That's in that situation.
Thank you for clarifying
The
this
bees
for
are
the
like,
audience.
we don't have enough room. We need a new queen. And so then that's when the split will happen. The swarm will happen. And typically that will happen in early spring or early summer because that's when the population has increased drastically. And so that's when the bees will feel we need more space. So as a beekeeper,
And you can
make
add
sure
an
you
extra
give,
box.
You give a box.
Right? You
yeah,
can add an
box
extra
with
box.
frames.
You can split the
give
hive.
that. Yep.
There's a lot of cool things that you can do. Okay, so that's really good information that we've got here. And gosh, what an exciting show.
I hope you've learned something from this.
Reproduction.
It's important.
I wonder if I should have one more kid or not.
I think Amy might have something to say about that. But you could adopt as well, which would not involve certain aspects.
Adoption is a beautiful thing.
It is.
By the way, I don't want to hate on any adoption because adoption is a very, very beautiful and very important thing in our world.
It's really good.
And it really helps to bring some love into a child's life who may not necessarily have love.
Yeah. Amen.
So I'm all for that. That's a good thing to do. Listen, I got to tell you, I'm tired today. It has been a long night.
The post-Christmas. I don't know about you. I had a long Christmas weekend. Very long Christmas weekend.
Yeah, my Christmas weekend was very full. But do you have a dog, Ralph?
Yes, we do.
What's his name?
Her name is Bailey. She's
Her
an
name
Australian Shepherd mix.
Is Bailey. Have you ever wanted to hit her over the head with a shovel?
I've never wanted to hit her over the head with a shovel, but
Not once?
no.
I'm going to take a guess and
but-
say one of your dogs had a rough night.
Look at the big brain on Scott.
And I'm going to guess which dog had a rough night.
Which dog?
Dakota. German Shepherd puppy.
Dakota had a rough night. Dakota decided to drop an atomic bomb out of her hindside in the bedroom.
On the bed?
No, we don't let the dog sleep on the bed.
Oh, that's
it's not
a
a
good call.
cat.
Good
He is silly goose.
Yeah. My bad.
Wait till you have dogs. You will understand why. So, I don't know. It must be 2:30 in the morning, and I smell this aroma. And I'm like,
It's like that Tacoma aroma.
that is not sweet honey.
No, that is not sweet
No,
honey.
it was putrid. I almost wanted to die. I woke up Amy. I was like, one of the dogs just went to the bathroom.
Were the
She's
kids
like,
in the room too?
no. Yes, but they sleep through anything because they're little Mack trucks. And so we look around. We don't see anything. We go over to the closet, the carpeted closet.
Oh no.
Oh,
And there is literally
burn the house down.
a pile the size of a large beehive festering on the floor, on the carpet. Needless to say, we had to clean it, scrape it, scrub it, then get the carpet cleaner out in the middle of the night.
At 2:30 a.m. Wow.
Well, by now it's probably 4.
Ugh.
We get the carpet cleaner out. We carpet cleaned that thing for like an hour.
Kids didn't wake up once, huh?
Kids didn't wake up once.
Wow, that's crazy.
Had to truck the, carpet cleaner down to the downstairs shower. Had to take the big box of cleanup to the front door. Had to wash our feet and hands and everything. And Charlie was up the entire time, just hanging out watching this happen.
How old is he?
11 months old.
Okay, a little baby.
And so basically my night was spent being a drone.
Did you go back to bed?
Yes, I did at 5 o'clock in the morning. I went back to bed and I thought, gosh, are we shooting that podcast at 8:15 or 8:30? Because that 15 minutes is going to make a big difference in
That's
my
right.
world
That's right.
tomorrow. And so the truth is that life happens.
Life happens.
And it doesn't make you want to be reproductive when the dog blows up the bedroom.
No.
Therefore, I am rethinking the entire... Do I let the dog sleep upstairs? Yes, you do, because if a bad guy comes in, one for the arm, one for the throat. That's why we have 2 of them.
Well, there are 2 arms.
You go for the arm that has the gun.
Okay. Okay.
So Samson's job is to go for the arm that has the gun, to take it down and eat it. And then Dakota's job is to go for the throat.
But is it worth it?
So they attack in
With
tandem.
Atomic bombs being laid in the closet. That is the question of the day.
You could argue that the smell of the atomic bomb could be a deterrent for a bad guy.
Oh, it would deter me for sure. I'm not going in that room. But see, unlike...
It's only the second atomic bomb in Dakota's life. So,
She's still young.
where does your dog sleep, Ralph?
She actually sleeps with my youngest daughter on a dog bed in her room.
Oh, ever drop an atomic bomb in the house?
Only once. And that was one time when she wasn't feeling well. She'd eaten something that she shouldn't have off the counter. And
Don't eat off the counter, dogs. Come on.
But she was a rescue. We got her when she was over a year old and already potty trained. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
I love
she's
it.
very protective too. And my 11-year-old, that's her dog. Like they're just the best of buds. So
They're inseparable.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. She waits when she comes from for school. She's like waiting at the window for her, and then jump around when she comes in. So it's pretty cute.
So anyways, that's why I'm a little bit tired today. All fertilized eggs have a chance to become a queen by being fed royal jelly. However, all unfertilized eggs will be drones. So I want the royal jelly. No, I don't. I don't want to become a queen. What am I talking about?
So that's in the...
I guess I just want to be a drone and die because I don't want to be...
That window that I was talking about where a worker bee egg could become a queen. The determining factor is, are they fed enough royal jelly? That's what it's classified as. That's the food that's given specifically to a queen. Well, all bees are given it for a couple days. Queens are given it continuously the whole time that they're being fed. And so a worker bee could be made an emergency queen in that situation, be fed royal jelly by the nurse bees.
And they just know. This is just the science. This is the intuition.
They know within hours if their queen is missing or dead or if she needs to be replaced. And if they're like, okay, she's too weak, we need to make a new one and replace her, they will do that. Or if there's not enough room and they need to swarm, they'll say, hey, we're going to take the established queen and get out of here. We're going to put a new queen in here. So they got like 2 to 3 weeks to really get that process going. And they'll fly around their current queen to stop her from laying eggs and force her to lose weight so that she can go fly, because she's too heavy to actually fly far with all of her fertilization in her. So
she's
fascinating how
a
that
big old
works.
girl, is what you're saying.
She's a big one. She's a
All
big
right.
one.
So interestingly, the queen repeats the egg laying cycle for 2 to 3 years. Whereas the average bee only lives for 45 days, the queen will live 2 to 3 years.
Queens could live for 4 to 5 years, but their laying really tapers off after the 3rd year. So your queens are at their peak reproduction in year 2, potentially year 3. Most people replace their queens after 2 to 3 years, because you hit your peak and then you just really begin to plateau and dive down in your ability to continue to reproduce. And bees need constant reproduction to keep a healthy hive, and ultimately we want healthy hives.
That's right. So every 2 to 3 years, the hive needs a new queen, and we are repeating the cycle.
Yep. And so
I just want to say I love bees.
bees are great. They're fascinating.
This show is sponsored by Honey for Hope. Honey for Hope is our bee farm, and Honey for Hope pollinates in Northern California and Oregon, Washington, almonds,
Berries.
blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, whatever. And so if you're looking for a pollination contract, reach out to Honey for Hope. We're happy to be of assistance. We also sell honey. If you're looking for some of that beautiful homegrown, raw, organic honey, our honey, I think, is some of the best honey in the world.
That's good raw honey, not pasteurized, not processed.
It's good raw honey. If you're looking for that, check out our website on Honey for Hope. Listen, we just like to have a little bit of fun here. So we love talking about bees. We love bees, but we also love life.
Yep.
And you don't get to have an amazing life without bees and without bee reproduction. Just like we joke around about our human reproduction, which is funny to joke about, but also a necessity to keep the human race moving forward is also very important. I like to think that my little hive is upstairs sleeping and buzzing away at this particular moment. So that's an exciting thing for them. And but at the end of the day, the bees are absolutely critical for our life.
Yeah.
So support your local beekeeper. It doesn't matter where they're at. Buy that backyard honey. Support the backyard beekeeper. 75% of the food on our table, we just celebrated Christmas. We had amazing Christmas meals. 75% of that food came from pollination in one way or another. Support your local beekeeper. And listen, if you're a beekeeper out there and you're listening to this show and, excuse me, you have a hive and towards the wintertime, you say, I've got the honey out of this hive that I want and I'm going to let the bees go, or I'm done with my hive for the year. Give us a call. We'd love to come pick up that hive. If you're in, the Western Washington area, we'd love to save those bees. We can introduce them to a new hive. We can keep them in a similar hive. There's many things that we can do with those bees. So, let those bees come live with us, because at the end of the day, we love all bees. We love taking care of the bees. The bees are so critical to our survival. It's not just the honey that they make. It's not just the pollination, but it's the reproducing that they need to do. It's it's everything that a bee colony does to help our world exist today.
Yeah.
I also saw, one of those Japanese hornets that are just huge.
Uh-huh.
I saw one of those attack a honeybee nest.
Wow.
It looked like that Japanese
It's like Godzilla
hornet
attacking
looked
us,
like
too.
Godzilla. Yes, I'm not kidding you. It actually, that's what I was thinking. You took the words right out of my. It was like Godzilla. But you know what? These little bees, these little drones,
Swarmed it.
dude, they were all up in that dude's business and made him fly away.
Wow.
They kicked him out. They didn't let him come and conquer.
That's good. That's a strong hive. It's a strong hive.
That's the kind of hives we have. So if you want honey from strong hives, you're going to hit us up.
Honeyforhope.org.
honeyforhope.org. Because you know what we do that's amazing? We give the profit back to charity. We're about changing the world and making somebody's life better, which is one of the reasons why we believe in adoption is an amazing thing.
Yep.
Because it's great. Any last words before we close this bad boy out?
Man, the more we learn about bees, the more fascinating they are. So I just want to encourage people who listen to this, whether it's online viewing or listening via your podcast app, like, subscribe, follow along, leave reviews, share this podcast. Just help us build our brand a bit and get out there even more so and support us in our work. But then also continue to support other beekeepers in your life, or consider getting hives at one point here for yourself. Plant some flowers. Do the things that help bees in our world, help bees flourish, and help us to grow to be this business that can give lots back to charity, that we can honey for hope, that we can give that hope.
That's what it's all about, giving back to charity. So listen, I'm Dave Wescott. Follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere where it's social. Give us a like, give us a share, and check out what we're doing on the Beecast here. Teach Me Bees. We're having a great time. And listen, we'll see you back next week. We're here every Thursday, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Yep.
And we'd love to have you join the show. Leave some comments, and thank you very much. Have a great day. Happy New Year.